Hey everybody, welcome back to the Quizlet channel. Today I'll be going over some of the spookiest, scariest study sins that you can do and making sure that you're not making these mistakes while you're studying. If you don't know, my name is Angelica. I'm a senior at UC Berkeley. I also make content online, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram. If you want to follow me there, definitely check me out. And I'm here part of the Quizlet family to help you all out today. So let's get straight to the video. So the first mistake, spooky sin that you can make, I am CEO of this club of having too many computer tabs open. This can be super distracting and overwhelming, and things can just get disorganized when we have a gajillion tabs on our laptops or computers or whatever it is. It can definitely get pretty stressful, hard to keep track of what files are what, which is this, and it also slows down your computer. So when you're trying to get work done or upload an assignment or watch a lecture, it can definitely slow you down. So I would say try to organize your tabs maybe by window, have different windows open and organize that. And if you can download certain extensions that help you save the RAM and memory on your computer. I think it's like tab suspenders. There's a whole bunch of those. So definitely try to optimize and make sure you're not overwhelming yourself with a million tabs, because that's something I need to work on as well. Number 2 is doing all-nighters. When I was in high school, I would do all-nighters, and to be honest, looking back, I don't know if they were that helpful. I know very, very few people where all-nighters have actually helped them, but I feel like for 99% of the world, obviously there's no science behind this, but doing an all-nighter really is just so you can tell yourself that you tried your best, but I think it actually ends up hurting you. Your memory is gonna be slower, you're sleep deprived, you're tired, and I know so many people who are just burnt out when it comes to the exam or quiz because they did an all-nighter, and really they can't recall or remember all the information they crammed in their head because you need rest, you need sleep for you to retain that information that you learned. So try to avoid doing all-nighters. I rarely think that it really works. You need your rest. And at that point, and at a certain point of the night, your studying can only help you so much. You can only be so prepared. So try to avoid all-nighters. And if you have to stay up late, at least get a few hours sleep in and wake up early before the exam to do some work. But please get some sleep. Trust me, your memory's gonna thank you. Just refresh yourself right when you wake up. Flashcards, notebook, whatever it is before and after you go to bed definitely is the best way to make sure you have all your hard work in your head. The last thing you want to do is fall asleep during the exam that you worked so hard for. So the next study mistake you can make is when you're doing practice exams or questions, having the test solutions or answer key right next to you. I feel like this is a really easy habit a lot of us get into. It's like we just do the problems with the answer key right next to us, but I find that this is really not healthy because it's not really making yourself try and understand those questions. Because I find myself a lot in high school, I would be like, oh yeah, I totally knew the answer, or that was what I was going to do, or that makes sense, instead of actually generating those answers on your own. I know it's really obvious and seems tempting to do practice tests or practice exams with the answer key because sometimes it can get really frustrating, but I would say if you have at least multiple exams, maybe do one exam with the answer key with you so you know how to do it step by step. But if you only are given one practice exam or practice question, I highly recommend trying to do it without the key, because you need to know where you really need to dig and go deeper and where you're really lacking. I feel like so many of us get comfortable with the key right next to us, so definitely practice without the answer key as much as possible, because it's an easy habit you're going to get into, and on the real exam you're not going to have an answer key to rely on. So making sure you're able to generate those correct answers on your own. So the next spooky study sin that you can make is only studying the material you know. I briefly talked about this in another Quizlet video, but I feel like a lot of us, when we have a lot of midterms or a lot of exams or just a lot to study on our plate, we often fall into the trap of reviewing and reading and doing the stuff we already know just to make ourselves feel better. I know it's always great to establish what you really know and you feel like you're, getting those core concepts right because this is your area of strength. But guess what? The exam or quiz or whatever it is going to be covering so much more than your strong suit. So I know it's kind of like a comfort default to just focus on the stuff you know really well, but try to focus your time mostly on the stuff you don't know well, because that is where you're going to be struggling in terms of going over the stuff you do know well. Trust your gut, you know it, you study for it, so really focus on the stuff you don't know. That is really where you're going to be able to do better and really level up your study game and your results for that exam. So the next mistake I see a lot of people have is relying on the final exams to really bring them from 0 to 100. I always tell people, yes, of course, it's okay to have a bad midterm or a bad test, but you can't expect to completely revive yourself from the death, no Halloween pun intended, to go from a 0% to 100% in the class, because chances are that final exam is going to be extra tough. A lot of times teachers and professors like to make their final exams harder because they really want to test their students. Also, final exams tend to be cumulative, so this could be both pro and con. It can be a pro if you're really a holistic, big picture type of learner, so it takes a longer time for you to learn everything at the end. But it can be a con because it can be a lot of material you need to cover. So I would definitely say be realistic about making sure you're putting in effort and getting results, even if it's small results throughout the semester or quarter, because you don't want to just rely, oh, it's okay, I can just slack off until the very end. It is so difficult to do well on a final exam, especially because those are the most challenging. It's the final exam. So I would try to do as best as you can in those homework, quizzes, midterms, whatever it is, just so you have that buffer room, and then also do excellent on the finals so you could extra boost it up. So going off of this, I think it's really important to set healthy goals and realistic expectations of yourself. If you know that this is a hard class and this is just not your strong suit, maybe don't expect a perfect score on everything because you're just gonna get discouraged and crushed. I would say that being aware of your ability and the time and effort you're putting in versus the difficulty of the class or the material, I would say finding that happy medium of making sure you're setting realistic expectations for yourself, because I don't want you all to be disappointed. Making sure that you know what your results are going to be so that way you're not going to be disappointed. And I think this is a great way to maintain a healthy relationship mentally and emotionally to your results for an academic class. So the next tip I have is pacing yourself. I feel like I see a lot of people not pacing themselves correctly and getting burnt out by the material. This is really common whether you're cramming it all at the end or maybe you're cramming it all at the beginning and then you get discouraged because you're overwhelmed. It's really important that throughout the weeks or months or whatever the timeline is, you're making sure you are pacing yourself, taking it day by day, because then be able to apply all that stuff for a midterm or an exam or a quiz. So making sure you are being intentional about how much time you're spending. Of course, you want to challenge yourself and learn the material right away so you don't forget it, but you also don't want to take on too much every day because you still have a lot more time left. Make sure you are pacing yourself at a realistic manner so you're not going over it at 30 chapters a day, because that's one, a lot, and two, you're going to be so bummed out that you didn't get there because it's physically and emotionally and academically very difficult to cover so much material. There's only so much you can review and study in a day. So making sure you are pacing yourself, very, very, very important. So the last study sin I see often is people don't ask for help until the very end or when they're at a crisis breaking point. I would say if you're struggling with any academic subject or even mental health or personal, whatever is going on, as soon as you are struggling, please talk to your professor, teacher, or whoever can really be there for you. A lot of times, so many students wait to the last minute to their breaking point to tell a teacher right before an exam. And I feel like that if you let a teacher know ahead of time, they can do so many things for you to make sure you're not feeling this way, you're not overwhelmed, and your mental health is not at jeopardy. So inform teachers, professors, adults, whenever it is you're feeling overwhelmed. And so many professors, at least in college for me, have been so understanding of deadlines and exam times and really understanding a student's perspective. And all you have to do is ask, and so many people don't even ask. And if you need some extra academic help, also ask TAs, tutors on campus, whether it's peers or upperclassmen or even just your teacher. Please, please, please let people know when you are struggling at any matter. The sooner you let someone know, the sooner someone can help you, and the sooner you can do better on whatever you need to do. So please, I see this so often, and this is something I learned too, is that I'm not a person who likes to ask for help. I'm very independent and self-sufficient, so I really try to avoid asking for help, but it's one of those things that you have to do it. Especially teachers and professors, I feel like if you are struggling in something, they want to help you. They want to help you master the content. They want to help you learn the content. So go get help if you need it. Don't wait till the last minute, because that would be the last minute and it wouldn't be very helpful. So be as open as possible, and so many people are going to be helping you, and it's going to be so beneficial. Trust me. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this was informative and you can learn some mistakes you can avoid for your next exam or quiz or whatever it is. If you like this type of video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up. Comment below some of the biggest study mistakes you've gone through or you've seen that I feel like people should know about. And don't forget to click subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.